Alright, so there's these new XYZ monsters called number 31, Abel's Doom, and number 13, Cain's Doom. See, look, it's 13, 31. 13 is 31 backwards. Get it? Because their effects only work when they're both out on the field. They both have the exact same effect in that when Cain's Doom is on the field, while Abel's Doom is also on the field, then he gains his second effects. His second effects include when he has an XYZ material, he cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, which is pretty neat, but that's only if the other one's out on the field. So if you just summon one by himself, he's completely vulnerable. The second effect, when they are both out on the field, is that your opponent takes any battle damage that you would take from an opponent's attacking monster, so you can't just ram it into your opponent. So you just gotta wait for your opponent to attack. And they're both with their first effects allow that second effect to actually go off, in that they can detach an XYZ material to force all your opponent's monsters to go in attack mode and attack this turn. So you just leave them up in attack mode, and they'll attack them, and they'll take damage, and it's all good. So you want your opponent to have that as strong as monsters as possible, so that they'll run into these little guys with their 500 attack and take a ton of damage. But your opponent can easily counter this if they just choose not to summon a monster that turn and not attack. Because you can just use this before they enter the battle, leave the main phase 1, and as soon as you use it, they can just simply change their monster defense mode to counter it. So I wanted to make an entire deck that revolved around just doing that. And this deck, I just put in a whole bunch of random XYZ level 1 monsters, so don't really pay those any mind. I do use them, because this whole deck is about going into level 1. It's basically a mix between a Chaos Piper and a normal level 1 high defense monster deck. And I changed it a couple times, and at the end, you know what, I'll just explain it when I do the deck profile at the end. Alright, so the deck itself has 12 normal monsters, all level 1 of course, with very high defense. None of them have less than 2,000 defense. In fact, there's actually one more normal monster that's level 1 that has 2,000 defense, but running 15 is overkill. One Rescue Rabbit, one Morphine Jar, triple Kinka-Biao, double Mystic Piper, triple Battle Fader, triple Evict Vealer, triple Shallow Grave, triple Tri-Rite, double Ojama Trio, Battle Mania, triple League of Uniform Nomenclature, and double Skill Prisoner. Skill Prisoner is amazing for protecting Cain and Abel. Since you rarely ever attack with him, they can't get rid of it with Deprison, and Skill Prisoner protects it from cards like Pleiades, those cards that allow you to bounce or whatever. And then for the extra deck, a whole bunch of random cards. The only ones that matter are Cain and Abel. Okay, so I have been building level 1 normal monster decks forever, and I know like all the math variations of it. If you're gonna run 15 of them, you can run Enchanted Fitting Room. Here, let me look that up real quick. Enchanting Fitting Room, right here. Pay 800 life points, pick up 4 cards from the top of your deck, special summon to your side of the field all level 3 or lower normal monsters among the picked up cards. Return all of the cards picked up to your deck, to their deck, and then shuffle it, blah blah blah. Basically, you pick up the top 4 cards and special summon all level 3 or lower normal monsters. It would seem great in this deck, but I have played level 1 normal monster deck for years to know that it's only worth running Enchanted Fitting Room if you have at least 15 normal monsters, because at 12, where you only have 3 of 4 of them, the math just doesn't work out well enough. You have like less than 1 in 4 chance every time you pick up a card to special summon. But at 15, it's a little bit higher, and it has a lot higher success rate. So if I ever use less than 15 normal monsters, I don't use this card. If I use more than 15, I'll use like 3 of them because it's amazing in that kind of situation. But this one is a mix of normal monsters and effect monsters, so I didn't choose Enchanted Fitting Room. There are 2 other really good cards to spam out normal monsters though, and that's Tri-Rite. Target 3 level 2 or lower normal monsters in your grave and special summon from the graveyard. Usually I don't run 3 of these, but this was like setting up Cain and Abel so easy that I just threw in the 3rd one. And then the League of Uniform Nomenclature. I always run 3. This card is like never dead, because you always at least go into at least 1 extra card with this. Because what you do is you just pretty much set one of your high defense monsters. Chances are they'll survive the turn, and you use the Uniform Nomenclature on your next turn, or as normal summon it face up, special summon 2 other ones out, and then normal summon Well, I mean, you can only do that on your next turn if it survives. But yeah, the League sets it up too because it pretty much just spams out 2 extra ones. Enchanted Fitting Room doesn't work in this deck because I already explained that. And Try Right also sets it up really easy. Pretty much Try Right plus just normal summoning one of your level 1 monsters allows you to go into Cain and Abel. The League on your second turn after it's already been flipped up plus a normal summon allows you to go into Cain and Abel. Or just the League plus, Kinka, Bia, or Battle Fader plus a normal summon allows you to stall out for a couple of turns with Sinnet Magician. It's real easy to actually go into Cain and Abel with this deck because of this one that allows you to go +2 in the field, and this one that allows you to go +3 on the field, even if it is -1 hand advantage. They're still really good for swarming the field with level 1 normal monsters, and they all have at least 2,000 defense. So they get Charcoal has 2,100, Bulina has 2050, Oppressed People 2,000, Flameveil Guard 2,000. They all are pretty good at surviving on their own, so they all level 1, so it works out perfect for Cain and Abel. Battle Mania, I actually just threw this one in because I don't know why I didn't have it in before. I think I had like Cross Counter or Broken Blocker, just wasn't testing out well enough. I was special summoning these guys way easy enough where I didn't really need Broken Blocker anymore. Broken Blocker is what I usually use in my level 1 Swarm decks when I use the high defense monster ones. Because one of your defense position monsters is destroyed that has a defense higher than its attack, special summon up to 2 monsters with the same name of that monster from your deck and face up defense position, which seems like it would work out great in this deck, but Try Right, League of Nomenclature, the League of Uniform Nomenclature, do it well enough. The reason behind Shallow Grave was to give my opponent one of my weenie monsters to attack with and attack into one of my unities. But I took out Unity because just leaving these guys in attack mode to get my opponent strong monsters seem to work out better. So Shallow Grave isn't really testing out as well as I thought it would. I just haven't thought of another card to replace it with yet. Although I can probably just throw in triple MST and that would be good. But I really liked setting Morphin Jar and using it over and over because my opponent just doesn't attack whenever I bring these 2 cards out. So reusing Morphin Jar over and over is a lot of fun. And, why Morphin Jar is in here in the first place was because I added Shallow Grave to go into the Unity thing to give my opponent one of my weenie monsters with no attack. Mystic Piper, preferably. 0 attack, force him to attack with Cain and Abel. He'll attack one of my defense position monsters, and I would use Unity on it to go into high defense because these all have super high defense, but it didn't actually work out that way. So it's not really, it's just in for my first variation of it. That's why I had Morphin Jar in the first place, but I really like using it with Morphin Jar, but it's not really good enough to constitute leaving it in here. So if I go back to this deck, I'll probably just take these guys out and throw in MSTs. Because MST is great. Mystic Piper is awesome for drawing out cards because you stall out well enough with your normal monsters. Go into Mystic Piper, draw. You have a ton of level 1 monsters in here. That's why I run Effect Veiler and Battle Fader. Because Effect Veiler will allow you to stop your opponent from, getting rid of Cain and Abel through non-destruction effects. Plus, it's just really good in any deck. And he's level 1, so he fits perfect with Mystic Piper. Battle Fader, because it allows you to go into level 1s because it special summons himself, stops the battle phase. Normal summon a card on your next turn, and you have a rank 1 monster. Battle Fader is pretty good in level 1 decks. Rescue Rabbit, because look at all these normal monsters. That'd be stupid not to run Rescue Rabbit. And Skill Prisoner, I think I explained this one before. Or did I? It's a really good way to stop Cain and Abel from getting bounced back by monster effects. Skill Prisoner is really good in this deck since they can't be destroyed by card effects, but they can still, be bounced by like a evacuation device. So if they have evacuation device or Phoenix Wind Blast, Skill Prisoner won't protect them, but it will protect them from pretty much anything else that's commonly run that bounces cards back. So Skill Prisoner is pretty nice. It'll stop them from getting like Highest, or I can't really think of any other ones that just bounce it back. Lightning Chidori I think bounces it, or actually, you know what? It wouldn't work against Madolchis because their Queen effect technically doesn't target. Does it target one card and negate any monster effects that target that card? Yeah, so it doesn't target, so it probably wouldn't work on it. Oh well. And Ojama Trio to give my opponent 3 monsters to attack into my big defense monsters with the Unity combo. That was in there from my first version of it that I kind of just abandoned because it wasn't working out. So I'll probably take out Ojama Trio and just throw in something else. I'm not sure though. But yeah, this is the rough draft of the deck, and it worked out pretty well, even if it was a half Unity OTK deck, half Cain and Abel spam deck.